In this tutorial we're going to add the movement to our character. Now we're not going to add the jump yet, but we're going to add the movement left and right. So we'll open up our object character, and the first event we want to put in is a create event. So in the event that the game is created or loads, we're going to pop it in there. Now the action we're going to add here is we're going to set a variable. Now this variable is going to set a value to how much or what speed the character will move in. So how many pixels left or right it will move into. And the reason we're setting this variable is that at any point I can then change the speed of the character, so I can get him to move at different speeds without having to change all of the code, but I can change it in one place. So on my create event, I'm going to go down to the control tab, and you can see here you've got some questions, you've got some other things here. This is where you might have inserted your code in the past, and you've also got these variables here. Well, the first one is to set a variable for our game, and this variable I'm going to call move_speed. Now a variable in computing is simply a place in computer memory where I can assign a value. And the value I'm going to assign to this little bit of memory that I've named move_speed is a value of 5. Now in this case it will actually be 5 pixels, okay, but you don't need to worry about that too much right now. You'll see that come into effect when we add the left and the right. Okay, so I've created that. Well, when the game loads, we create a variable called moveSpeed and we put the number 5 into it. That's all you need to know right now. I'm going to go ahead now and add in the left and right. So in order to do this, I'm going to add an event, keyboard left. Now for this one we need to check first of all whether or not the position to the left of the character is free, so there's nothing in the way, because if there's something in the way then it couldn't move left or right at a speed of 5. So from the control tab here you can see that we can ask a question, and the question is check empty. So drag that action in. The X that we're going to do here, so along the X-axis, and because we're doing the left keyboard press now, I'm going to put minus and then I'm going to type in that variable. So basically saying check along the X-axis but to the left of the character, and that's why we put the minus in there. So we take the minus out for the right, to see if there are 5 pixels free to allow the character to move into those 5 pixels. And if they are, okay, it will allow him to move, but of course if they're not, we won't. Now we can leave Y as 0 here, and we can leave objects alone, but we do need to tick relative, because we need it to add on each time, so it will keep moving into the free pixels. And I click OK. Now after an if statement we must put in an action. Now in this particular case, of course the action is going to be move. Alright, so if there are 5 pixels free to the left of the character, move, and we're going to jump to a position, or move to a position. You won't actually see it jump. Okay, and the position obviously we're going to be jumping to here is the minus move speed, so 5 pixels to the left. We also need to make this relative. Click OK. So a little bit complicated, but what we've essentially done there is we've set sort of a variable called speed of movement, move speed, and given it 5 pixels worth of movement. Then on our left event, when somebody presses the left keyboard button, it will check to see if anywhere to the position of the character is free on the left, and then if it is, it will jump 5 pixels to the left, okay, or at a speed of 5. Now we need to obviously do the same thing here for the right, so we add another a keyboard event to the right. We need to go to the control tab, we need to check to see whether or not the position is free, but notice this time I haven't got the minus sign because to the right we don't need it, it's a positive number. We can leave the y on the object and make it relative. Click OK, and if it is, we want it to move to a position of move speed and then make it relative and click OK. Now obviously we're going to be testing this in just a moment, but in order to do that we'll create a room, and I'll show you how to do that in the next tutorial. Worth taking your time setting up this correctly, so go back through this video maybe a couple of times just to check to make sure you've got all your code correct.